Hi, Mark here. Monday, March the 30th, 7:37 a.m. Eastern, 11:37 a.m. GMT. US session about to get underway in about 30 minutes. Let's have a look how the markets are shaping up this morning. US dollar index started off gapping higher to open the week after closing at almost exactly at that 100 level, and then gapped up to open at 116, came down. This was a solid red candlestick, but buyers have stepped in again. Demand for US dollar to start the new week. You can see the wick, it's left behind, and buyers will be looking to test this 116 on the upside if US dollar strength can continue. If sellers do step in once the US session is underway, sellers will be looking back down at the support set earlier at 99.87. I'm on the daily chart. You can see this 100 level is really a tough level to break above for buyers. I'm just going to the weekly chart to show you. I did put in a fib retracement tool measuring the US dollar sell-off from 2025 all the way up here from resistance all the way down to the low, which we saw at the start of this year, and the fight back fib retracement tool using the first, looking for the first 38.2% fib retracement level. There it sits at 188. So if this buying is to continue, demand for US dollar and buyers break above this 100 level, I do believe that'll be the next target and the first real test for the US dollar at 188. We'll see if buyers can get the US dollar index up to that resistance level. Let's have a look at, go back to the daily chart, have a look at the S&P. We're looking at the futures market for now. Close to 2 hours until Wall Street opens up. We had a strong sell-off last week. There's the downtrend, strong sell-off on Friday. To open the week in futures trading, we did have a gap lower from closing at 6,414, opened at 6,364, but you see the green candlestick. Buyers have stepped in the futures market. We'll see whether that can be maintained, the demand for US equities, or if there's a bounce down off this area and sellers continue with what we have seen and been in place for a long time now, since the start of the year, and really picked up steam at the end of last week. I've got support at 6,360, and I have resistance sitting right now at 6,478. Let's have a look at gold. Gold gap lower to start after closing last week at 4,488, open to start the new week at 4,449. But there has been demand for gold. Buyers have stepped in. There's the green candlestick. I've got support at 4,425. I've got resistance being tested right now at 4,553. Hasn't been able to break above this level last week. We'll see if buyers can break above this level now, and if US dollar can get back on the front foot. You can see the EMA is also about to cross over, so definitely bullish this morning. The Looking at gold, looking bullish. We'll see if that can continue with the US dollar index also looking bullish, both of them strengthening that little bit now. We'll see how that plays out once the US session is open. Let's have a look at Brent oil. Brent oil looking pretty flat so far in today's trading. There was a gap higher to start the new week. I've now got support at 106.18. I've got resistance at 109.33. There's the small red candlestick because it gapped higher to open, came down that little bit. But like I say, so far pretty flat, certainly for the wide range and swings we've seen in oil. relatively flat so far today. We'll see if buyers break above this 109 and push higher, or if sellers turn things around and come back down to test the 106.18. Bitcoin. Bitcoin bounced up from the support, and a very strong support sitting at 65.7 thousand. You can see sellers haven't been able to push, break through, maintain, tested a little bit in February, but buyers have stepped in again at that level. So I've got my support at 65.7 thousand. I've got resistance at 67,800, about a $2,000 range, pretty narrow. We'll see whether buyers can continue with this, can push higher, can get up to test that 70,000 level, have been unable to maintain above 70 and 72,000 certainly last week. We'll see if there's a turnaround, a change this week, or if sellers do step in again and look back down to retest this support level. But a narrow range, hang around with pretty much the range that we saw last week. We'll see how that plays out now that the US session is open. Good trading, and I'll see you at the end of day.